Good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us this morning in the Bikeability Procurement Opportunity webinar. My name is Gillian Askew. I'm from Go for Growth, and I'm one of your hosts for this morning's webinar. I'm joined by my colleagues Fiona and Mark from North Yorkshire Council, and they'll introduce themselves in a second. Just before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping for everybody. So the session is being recorded this morning, so you will get a copy of the slide deck that we go through this morning, and you'll get a copy of the recording as well. And that's likely to be issued out through the clarification process once the procurement is live also. We are in Zoom, so we have chat functionality enabled this morning, and we've got Q&A functionality as well. So if you would like to say hi and introduce yourself on the chat, please feel free to do so. If you're using the chat functionality, there's a couple of options. You can chat to either hosts and panelists or everyone. So if you want to talk to everyone, just make sure that you've set it to chat to everyone. In the Q&A functionality, if you do have questions, if you can pop any of those questions in there. If you want to do that anonymously, you can through the Q&A functionality. But we should have time this morning to take questions once we've gone through the brief slide deck to overview the opportunity. So the order of events today, Fiona is going to talk about the Bikeability Services opportunity. Mark will then talk us through the procurement timeline and some procurement information, and then I will give you some information on the help and support that's on offer through Go for Growth. So I will hand over initially to Fiona to do a brief introduction and to update you on Bikeability Services. Over to you, Fiona.
Thank you. Hi, so I'm Fiona Ansell, and I am the North Yorkshire Road Safety Team Leader and also the Bikeability Scheme Manager, which I have been since 2017. So a bit of background about why we're here today. We've been delivering in-house cycle training since 2005. 2005 to 10, we ran our own program, and we've been delivering Bikeability since 2011. So during that time, we have trained over 75,000 students, 45,000-ish via the Bikeability program. So obviously we're quite familiar with it in all its iterations over the years. And always, since the beginning, North Yorkshire Council has contributed to the delivery costs. As you might imagine, over the last few years, they have been increasing, significantly. As a result of that, we introduced school charges in 2020, which obviously had an impact on the take-up. And last year we had to increase that fee a little bit, which had an impact. Now, as you can imagine, North Yorkshire Council, along with many others, have significant budget pressures, on all departments in all areas. And, so we are, we've been looking at ways to, different ways to deliver the service. And we have the best option that we've arrived at is to procure it. We have our market engagement exercise suggests that there are providers that can deliver it for a grant. And so that's something. So here we are looking at procurement. So, I mean, that's kind of it from me for now, but obviously happy to take questions later. Thanks, Gillian.
Thank you, Fiona. That's brilliant. I'll hand over to you, Mark, if that's okay. Just let me know when you want me to move through the slides.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Taylor, Senior Commercial Officer here at North Yorkshire Council. I'm going to give a brief overview of the procurement process timeline and then some pointers in terms of the actual procurement process itself. So we will be publishing the opportunity on your tender. There's a link there in the slides that will come out afterwards to attendees as well, the slide deck. So please make sure that you are registered on your tender. that is how you will get notified that the opportunity has been published. That's how you will be able to find the opportunity and register for it and access the documents as well. And it's not just North Yorkshire Council opportunities. The entire Yorkshire and Humber region do publish opportunities through the Your Tender portal. So if you're not registered on there, it's a good place to register for other opportunities, not just North Yorkshire Council ones as well. But we will be publishing our opportunity on Your Tender. When we're going to publish, we're looking at the next couple of weeks. I've got early to mid-September in there. We don't have an exact date. However, once it is published, it will be available for tender responses for at least 30 days. So as I say, you will be notified of that once it gets published on Your Tender, and then there'll be at least 30 days for submission of tender responses before it closes. So following that, it will close around early to mid-October, depending on when it does publish in September. And then the council evaluation process will commence, as well as the sort of governance and approval process that we go through. We expect that to take around 4 to 6 weeks. So don't be surprised if you have submitted your tender and then you don't hear anything again for, a month or so. We are just moving through the process of evaluating the submissions and getting the relevant approvals at our end before we can sort of notify suppliers about the outcome. And we're anticipating the contract completion sometime in December, with the start of service readiness beginning on the 2nd of January. There'll be a 3-month period from January to the start of April, and that's when the sort of services will commence. So that service readiness period, there'll be about 3 months for that. And as I say, the contract will commence on the 1st of April, 2025. Next slide, please, Jill. So just some high level tips here in terms of the procurement process, and I may be sort of stating the obvious in some of these instances, but it is really important just to reiterate some of these points. So the first one here, please do read the specification carefully. Although we are going out for bikeability provision, bikeability training, which you may do in other areas and for other authorities, please do just read it carefully, because there may be certain things that are we've added in there that you may not be delivering at other authorities. So just make sure that you do read that carefully. Ask any clarifications during the clarification window. So once the tender has been published, the clarification window will open, and there'll be a closing date for that just before the tender closes itself. If you do have any questions about the specification, about the procurement process, about the terms and conditions, whatever it might be, make sure you ask those during the clarification window, because that's when we can receive them, we can consider them, and potentially make changes or adjustments depending on what the clarifications are that we get. So it's much more difficult to do that after the clarification window closes. Typically, we don't accept clarifications at that point. So make sure you do ask those during the clarification window. Review the award questions and the award criteria. So again, similar to the specification, read these carefully, understand what it is that we're asking, and understand how we're going to be evaluating the questions. Ultimately, that is how your submission is going to be evaluated, the questions that we're asking and the award criteria that we're scoring those responses against. So just review them very carefully, and also as well review the award criteria carefully. And it is obvious, but make sure you do submit before the deadline. This does happen. We cannot accept submissions that come in after the deadline. So make sure that you've submitted it in good time before the deadline, at least a day before, just so you can check if there's been any technical problems or that your submission has submitted correctly. So as I say, we cannot accept submissions after the deadline. So do make sure you get that in before the deadline closes. And then we do have Go for Growth on the call. We've got Gillian here. They are our partner, so they can offer additional support services. If you've got any specific questions about the process or you need some specific support, they may be able to help. So please do contact them if you've got any questions. And again, I'm sure Jill will appreciate this, but do this in good time as well before the deadline. And that leads me quite nicely to Jill's slide.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much, Mark. Yeah, so you might well, as Mark said, have gone through a bid process for bikeability services before, or it might be the first time that you're doing it. Our job as a partner to North Yorkshire is to support all providers to go through the process as well as possible. So And that means giving different types of support. So you can come to us for one-to-one coaching and guidance. You can ask questions on process to us. We've got lots of templates and guidance tutorial videos. We've also got bid skills courses that you can undertake. And in the longer term, because as Mark said, both from a portal perspective, but also a broader growth perspective, we're here not just to support this one procurement process, but your growth as a provider for the longer term sustainably. So if you want to think about how you can grow in the public sector, we've got a couple of ways that we can help you do that. Looking at a gap analysis and looking at the public sector supplier ready accreditation. So that basically allows you, if you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know where your gaps are, it will help you understand what the basic tools are that you would need in your toolkit to take part in public sector opportunities, including opportunities like the Bikeability services. We're a partner with North Yorkshire, but it's really important for us to stress that all the support that we offer is offered free of charge at point of use to providers. So please don't worry that there's any barrier to accessing that support in Go for Growth. There isn't, certainly no cost barriers. And you can come to us in lots of different ways. So our systems are all 24/7 available. If you can book one-to-one coaching, you can use our templates, you can access our online courses all the time as well. So we'll do as much as we can to make sure the support is relevant and proportionate to what you're trying to achieve, whether it's this process or any other. And we know that it can often feel like a challenging process going through procurement. So what we've got on the screen is ways that you can get in touch with us. So if you wanted to book a one-to-one, we do those typically via Teams, or we can do them over the phone as well. But we have a bookable calendar, which means you can book directly into mine or my colleagues' calendars using the link that's on screen. They will all be live links when the slide decks come out. You can email or you can give me a call on my mobile specifically. But also what we've got on our website, you can see an image on the screen. When you go to our website, up in the right-hand corner, there's something called membership resources. And those templates and tutorial videos and guides and courses that I talked about, they're all accessible free of charge through that membership resources page. So as and when you're ready, you can have a look through what it is that you need and download all of those resources for your use whenever you're ready to. And we're often running webinars, events, skill-based workshops. So we have a half-day bid skills workshop coming up in October, which you're more than happy to come and join us on. We've got lots of those things going on. So you can also have a look on our website, our events page, and work out if you want to join any of those skills-based workshops. But the point is that you're not alone in the process. If you do have any questions, you can ask them through the clarification process. As Mark said, any questions that you ask Go for Growth will also feed into the clarification process. So you have support from both the authority and from Go for Growth throughout the process. So please do feel free to use that support as and when you want to, both for this opportunity and any other. And I think that really covers everything that we wanted to share from a slides perspective today. So I think it really just remains to see if there's any Q&A, which having a quick look, there isn't anything at the moment. Often with things like this, there might be, as soon as we finish the call today, you could remember the question that you wanted to ask. If you do have questions outside of the session today, then please do feel free to drop them over via email. I'll be sending out the slide deck and the recording of today, so you can always reply to me if you do have any questions, and I can send them over to either Fiona or Mark if they're the right people to answer them. So feel free to pop anything in Q&A while we've got a couple of minutes at the end, or if not, we certainly don't want to take up everybody's time. You can always bob us questions over after. Mark, Fiona, anything else that you wanted to add to that before we finish up today?
Well, excuse me. Yeah, so while we're waiting for people to maybe ask a question, so obviously one thing that I haven't mentioned yet is number of places we'd be looking at delivering. So over the last few years, we've had an annual target of 4,000 places. This current year, we have just over 5,000 places. As you'll probably be aware that Bikeability upped a lot of targets by about 20–25% this year. So at the moment, that's the sort of number of places we're looking to deliver next financial year. Now, if we don't manage to deliver that many, they may adjust, but about 5,000 is the figure that we're working on, if that's helpful.
Yeah, I think that's really useful for people who are on the call, and for anybody that might look at the slides or watch the video back at a later date. So that's useful. Thank you, Fiona. Anything else that you wanted to add, Mark?
Not at this stage. Thanks, Jill.
Okay. If anybody's not registered on your tender, then and doesn't know how to go about it, the EU Supply Your Tender portal is quite intuitive. But if you've got any problems or any questions, we do have a tutorial video for registration for your tender that is on the Go for Growth website. Or if you just want to drop me an email, I'm happy to send you a link over to it, or I can walk you through the registration process. Once you're registered, we'll keep an eye on when the alerts go out. You can set up alerts to tell you about opportunities, and you can also go into your tender to check when the opportunity is live. And we'll also do some social media posting about when the opportunity is live for people to go and look at it. So depending on whether you use the portal already, you might not need any assistance, but if you do, feel free to shout. But in the next couple of weeks, that opportunity should be live for people to take part in, which is great.
And once it is live, Jill, I'll let you know, and then you can obviously push that out stuff on your channels as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. I will double check nothing in Q&A as it stands at the minute, but thank you for those that have attended this morning. I know everyone's super busy, so we appreciate you taking some time out of your schedule to come along and join the webinar this morning. The slide deck and the recording will be out hopefully in the next 24, maximum 48 hours, so not too long. And then if you do have any questions, please do just give us a shout. And everybody, Fiona and Mark and everyone on the call, have a great rest of your Tuesday, and we'll see you all soon. Thank you ever so much. Bye-bye. Bye.